Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video, folks. Now, as the title suggests, this is going to be 7 tips for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Now, of course, before we get into it, I'm just going to make a quick disclaimer here. I am by no means a professional player here, and this is a video aimed at people just like me that are just getting into the game. And it's based off of my own experiences with the game and things that I've learned throughout my gameplay. So, with that being said and done, let's get into the tips. Starting with tip number 1, do your research. Now, as you know, at the beginning of the game, you get to select a class. Each class has a specific set of skills, and of course, you do want to be researching in what you invest your points, because you do get a limited amount of them, and you can only respec a total of 3 times. So that is quite important. You don't want to mess this up. As you can see right here, this is what I've done with my sorceress build. This is the first iteration of it. I will respec later on into something different. However, whilst we are on the topic of skill trees, right here, as you can see, Firebolt does synergize with Fireball. Now, Firebolt is a single target attack, and Firebolt is a small AoE attack. Of course, by investing points in Firebolt, I do get the bonuses into the Fireball, which is a bit more powerful. So that is something to keep in mind. Of course, there are plenty of guides on the internet onto how to spec your character, which is quite important. You do look those up so that you don't make too many mistakes. Now, in terms of the leveling up, when you put your points into your stats, very important here, you do want to focus on vitality. So for example, strength and dexterity, you only want enough points to equip a specific set of armor if that is what you're going for, no more. So you don't want to put an extra point in there just because you want to put it in vitality. That is quite important. It will increase your survivability. Now, and as far as the energy goes, which will impact our mana, we will be relying on the mana potions. So that is how we will be topping up. Definitely not worth investing too many points in that. The next thing that I want to point out, so this is tip number 3, is Ruin Words. Ruin Words will create what would be a useless piece of gear. So the gear with the gray title, so it's quite important. It must not be magical or anything. It must not be spectral. It must be just a simple plain piece of equipment with the gray writing on them, and it must have a specific number of slots. With that and some ruins, we can create different types of rune words. So for example, right here you can see that I have this chest piece right there that has the stealth rune word on it. So for example, these are the runes right here. We will use them in a specific order in a specific set of gear with a specific amount of slots that we can put in it. So for example, for the stealth, we need 2 slots on a white or gray piece of chest. And of course, very importantly here is that they need to be socketed in the correct order. The other thing that I wanted to point out is the rejuvenation potions. And of course here, as you can see, I have the normal rejuvenation potion. And if you place 3 of these rejuvenation potions in here in the Heroic Cube, which you get in Act 2, you can then transmutate it into the full rejuvenation potion, and this heals you for 100% of your mana and life. Definitely save these up and do not throw them away or use them, because they will come in handy later on as you progress through the game and things get more difficult. Whilst I was on the topic of the Ruin Words, I just wanted to point out and kind of show you some examples here. As you can see, I showed you the chest before, and the Ruin Words does actually increase the power and the abilities of that piece of equipment. It does actually give you a lot of positive attributes. So for example, here, as you can see, all of the additional things that this piece of Ruin Word gave me. So I used the Tal and the Eth ruined to put into the 2 sockets that chest piece had. So over here I have a shield, and I have 2 of the 3 runes that I need to create another rune word. So over here, as you can see, you can get other different types of equipment. It must not be magical or have any other quality, and they must have the correct amount of slots for gems. So what I am doing right here, as you can see, is I am saving up all of these items that I may potentially need later on in the game. It does not really matter what type of item you want to do that with. Of course, you do want to pay attention to the secondary stats or the substats that it comes with, because you can stack that with the rune word to get the most benefit from them. And of course, this brings us into the next thing. You want to be looking for resistances. So your character has a specific amount of resistance. So we've got fire resistance, we've got cold resistance, lightning resistance, and poison resistance. The most three important ones to be looking for is fire, cold, and lightning resistances. You can, of course, stack some poison resistances, but we do have the antidote potion, which is in a black vial. That will, of course, cure the poison. And quite important here is the fact that you want to aim for around 75% resistances by the end of your normal playthrough. So that would mean, of course, 75% for fire, cold, and lightning resistances. And if you can get anything for your poison resistance, that would also be beneficial. Of course, as I said, we do have ways of dealing with that. In terms of the repair, so this is quite interesting right here. I don't really suggest you do this, but this is as an option. You can, of course, use the Ort and Ral runes if you do have loads of them, so that you can freely or repair your gear for free. So I only seem to have a Ral rune right here. Yep, okay. So I'm going to use that to repair my chest piece, which, as you saw previously, is a bit damaged. So how do we do that? Well, for this you will need the Heroic Cube, which you get in Act 2. Let me show you exactly what to do with it. So you can see right here, I've opened up the Heroic Cube. I will put the chest piece in the Heroic Cube. Obviously take this out. We put the rune in and the chest piece, and as you can see, before I do anything, durability 4 of whatever it was, so 4 of 22, and with the rune and armor piece in there, just press the transmutate button and it does repair the durability. I don't really recommend you do this. I say save the runes for something else. If you have too many of them, then that's a possibility to spare some gold, although gold is plentiful in the game. So that was tip number 6. On to tip number 7, which is the final tip that I have for you, and that is the belt. So I'm going to empty out some stuff here so I can show you exactly what I mean. Now, very first thing that we want is belts with as many slots as possible, because this will allow us to carry as many potions as we can, which is quite important here. And notice that once you get to a certain specific level in the game, the mana potions will be your bread and butter. Now, if you want to top up your belt with the potions, you of course want to go to a vendor. Now, instead of clicking on each potion individually to buy and stock up your belt that way and then shift it into your belt, there is a little shortcut that you can use, and that is of course the shift and right click on your computer, and this will fully stock up your belt with the potions that you've selected. The same thing applies to the tomes and of course any potion that you want to buy. So for example, if you want to buy scrolls for your town portal tome, just go on the town portal scroll, right click and shift, and that will stock up your tome completely with all the scrolls that you need. I don't know what the controls are for consoles. I do know it only for the computer, so I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Alright, here I am at a vendor. So for example, I want to stock up my belt with the mana potions. Right click and shift, and there we go. All of them slots are now filled up with the right potions. I've done that for health and mana potions right there. This also applies to the tomes. You just click on the scrolls and they will be placed in the appropriate tome. Also, on this topic right here, you can heal your mercenary from your belt by shift right clicking on whatever potion you want to put on it. Obviously, the mercenaries will want the health potions. So just as another additional tip, call this a bonus tip if you want to call it that. And with that said, that is pretty much it for this video. It does bring me to the end of the video, and I do hope that you have found this useful and informative. As I have said in the beginning of the video, these are things that I've learned through my playthrough of the game, and this is a video or a guide aimed at people just picking up the game that are not experienced and seasoned players. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And of course, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. Until next time, stay safe, folks.